Commercial Construction Coffee Talk fans. Thanks for chiming in. My name's David Corson. I'm your host. I'm also the publisher and editor of Commercial Construction and Renovation magazine. That's what it used to look like. We're digital now, but this was 2020 of June, I think. Anyway, my good buddy Andy Briggs, hotelier up there in Columbia, South Carolina, about an hour and a half just north of me, just across the border. So anyway, got a bunch of covers behind me. There's Mr. Chris from Mammoth. I got JLL, the chicken guy, Tim Houghton. Got a hotelier coming up on the next issue. It's going to post next week. And just a bunch of exciting stuff going on. Dog days of summer. Hey, here in Georgia, school just started yesterday. The high schoolers go in today. The buses are back on the road. So it was nice not having any traffic, but hey, they go to school early and then they get out in the middle of May. So, but it's still, well, it's a little overcast today, but listen, every day we get water. We just went to dinner last night, and my son's going up to Nashville to finish up his A&P, his last test before he gets a certification for the FAA, and went over the dam, and we were down about a half a foot. Full pulls at 1070. We were at 1069.24. So I know, some people around, some of the lakes around the country, Lake Mead, Lake Powell, I mean, they are like really, really low. And I've water skied on both of those lakes. So, I mean, awesome place, but it's just so sad. We have tons of water here. I wish I could put some of them out west, to give them some, because there's a ton of it in there. And every day here in Atlanta during the summer, heat. And about 4:30 to 7, the thunder boomers come in and they just dump the freaking water, and it keeps the lake up. So, I have my boat up there, so I like having as much water because I don't want to run up any trees that are covered and all the other stuff that the Army Corps of Engineers flooded, years ago when they created the lake. But everyday rain, and my grass is loving it because it keeps on getting greener. I got to cut it at least a couple times a week. It gets too long. But anyway, summer, still got a month left for you. So, I'm from the north. So Labor Day, the summer ends right after Labor Day weekend. Everybody goes back to school. So for those of you up north, still enjoy the beach and all that stuff, and hot dog, beers, and enjoy it, because before you know it, boom, it's going to be over. And we're going to be in the third quarter and going into the fourth quarter. And before you know, it's going to be Thanksgiving, Christmas, and this year's going to be over. It's amazing. I just started January 2022, and now it's August 4th. It's insane. Time is just completely blown by. So, but everybody I talk to, doesn't matter if you're a brand, architect, engineer, vendor, everybody's busy. So better busy than not these days. And, you got to get the business while you can. So, and we're all still standing, which is a good thing. So today, I've got a really nice guest. He's down from the great state of Texas, down in Austin. He's a contractor. His name is Barry Wurzel with Wurzel Construction, and they do retail, petroleum. They do all sorts of stuff. Anyways, publicist reached out to me and said, "Hey, Barry's got a really good story, and we'd love to be on the show." And hey, I was like, "Yeah, no problem." So this website out, looks like an interesting individual. And Barry, say hello from Austin to our listeners out there in Commercial Construction Coffee Talk land.
Hello there. How are y'all doing?
Hey, we appreciate it. And you got your hat on, so I'm gonna put mine on here for a second, Got this at San Antonio when I did my event down there, out on the ranch. They gave it to me. So this is one of my favorite ones.
Very good. Good looking.
Yeah. For a Yankee living in the South, I'm looking okay. All I need is my 12 gauge and in my pickup truck or on my horse. So anyway, I grew up in Philadelphia. We had stables, we had horses and all that. So I always had a cowboy hat. I got old pictures of myself. I was born to be a cowboy, and but anyway, I dig the hat. So that was awesome. So I figured I'd join you. So
thank you.
So Barry, this is actually how it works. You're going to tell your story, where you grew up, any brothers and sisters, where you went to school and how you ended up today, running your, contracting business down in Austin, Texas. And then we'll talk about the, lessons learned over the last, 24 months of the roller coaster. And then we'll finish up, with a positive thought or phrase. So with that said, the floor is yours. Tell us your story.
Well, I started, well, I've had a love for construction since I was about 12. Somewhere when I was very young, when I was 14, I believe, I built a 3-story fort inside of my mom's house out of some spare wood from a bunch of houses being built close by. So that's when I guess that I knew I had the love for building. So did that when at a young age, and then I started building houses and that when I was 16 or so years old, and then decided, I got the religion, as some say, to be a builder. So um, my first professional job on this side of the fence, I worked for an owner, worked for a large retail, a large box retail outfit as a construction manager for them. Finished my college degree in management there in California. So I was born and raised in California. I moved from California to Texas in 95 to go to school at A&M. So I got a master's degree at A&M in construction.
Yeah,
And
go
made the
Aggies,
change-
12th man. Yeah.
Oh
Woo.
yeah, Gig 'em Aggies.
Yeah.
So I made the change to the contractor side in 95. Well, when I got out of school from A&M in 96, and then worked for a general contractor, and then went into business for ourselves in 98. And so we've been in business since 1998, just finished, what's that, 24 years. And
Nice.
so been very blessed to, there's been ups and downs as any business has, but we're real blessed to be here and be still standing.
Hey, it's amazing. I went out on my own in 2001, right after 9/11, and probably the worst time to start a business, but no better time than the present to roll the dice. And I've gone through all the deep peaks and valleys, and the dot-com boost, the economy falling off the cliff in 08, all this stuff, and plus a couple of wars in there too. And here I am. I'm 22 years. I started about 22. So most businesses fail, and I just did a webinar last week. I had a consultant on there, and he said, if the first 9 out of 10 businesses fail in the first year, and then and the rest of them will fail in the first 5. But then if you're still standing, if you do your due diligence and you have the right growth plan, you'll be able to weather those little peaks and valleys, and you'll still be standing. And while this was going on, I was behind the soundboard, and I asked the guy that owned the recording studio I did it, and I said, "Hey, Rich, how long have you?" And he's like, "Oh, I've been there 24." I'm like, "Oh, you passed the critical benchmark there." And he goes, "What about you?" I go, "I think I'm 22. I was 99 when I went in. And everybody said, "Don't do it." I was working for Nielsen, had the 401k, had the expense account, everything. They were like, "David, we love you, don't leave." And my parents were telling me, "Don't go." And it was like, I'm doing it. I rolled the dice, and scary, and but I learned a lot about myself and a lot about business and all those peaks and valleys. Listen, I made mistakes. I make mistakes every day, and it's been a great ride. And I built a lot of friends and a lot of local subscribers that are loyal to me. I consider my friends. I'm Facebook friends with them, or on Telegram or whatever. And so construction is a really cool thing. My family's been in construction since 1888, 5th generation. So just like yourself, I was always down at the scrapyard playing in. I had an erector set. I built more stuff than you can imagine with my erector set. I still have it. It's steel. For those of you who don't know what it is, an erector set, it's got nuts and bolts and kind of like rivet looking things. And but this is a real old one, a steel one. I got it when I was really little, and I used to just play hours with that thing. But
I probably I have one of those as well. I don't have it anymore, but I remember.
Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest thing is when I was 16, and I know some of you heard the story out there. I know you hate to hear me say it, but when I was 16 in Pennsylvania, outside of Philly, when you got your driver's license, if you were one of the grandsons in our business, you had to work in the scrapyard that summer. So when I got my license, my 2 cousins and I were all born in June. So we all went into the scrapyard. You had to watch out for the overhead cranes. Then I was on a demolition job. I was shoveling asbestos. Then I did this railroad sandblasting car gig. And, I did all sorts of stuff. Now my cousins, they're running the business now, because everybody else is, either passed away or retired, 4th generation. But it's in my blood. It's amazing. I have a construction magazine. I've kind of gone full circle. I've done the construction, did this, did retail, and now I'm back. I'm a publisher and I'm talking construction. So it's, it's a crazy way. You never know. I took little things, everything I learned away, and I've applied it to this. So, but really good story. And Aggies and the cowbells and all that. It's funny when the Aggies have probably University of Denver, we're called Piles. So, we bleed crimson and gold, and, but the Aggies, if you're an Aggie, listen, nothing against Texas or, all the other schools down there, but if you're an Aggie, man, you got that bond is pretty thick. I mean, it just is, and,
Yes, it is.
And yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
You have to be on campus at Texas A&M to really understand it.
Yeah. And,
hard to describe it, but easy to understand it if you're there.
Yeah. So, I like when they do the push-ups, after touchdown, and they got the military aspect and all that. So, and I come from a military family, so I'm even though if DU played the Aggies, I pull for DU. But when the Aggies are playing, I'm pulling for them. Okay, nothing against all the other schools, but I'm pulling for them. So let's talk about the last 24 months of the roller coaster. Obviously, when 2020 started, everything was kind of going great. Country's humming along. All of a sudden, everything gets shut down in March, and a lot of companies had to figure out. No one knew what was going on. I mean, it was kind of a day by day thing. Trying to figure things out. Here we are, 24 months later, and the lights. We're out of the tunnel. There's still some. Well, we got labor shortages. We got products. We got inflation. All the things that as a business owner that hurt your bottom line, on those on those budget lines for expenses and stuff. But talk about how you weathered the storm over the last 24 months and some of the things that you learned how to make it through the end of the tunnel.
Well, a lot of it's been to learn as we go in some respects, because when early 2020 when the changes were happening, it was really tough to get out in front of it. So there was a lot of learning as we go, keep things, manage the expenses, keep things tight. We had a lot of projects that were put off. Fortunately for us, we had a number of long-term jobs that carried us through until right about now. And so the price increases that are affiliated with that, the labor shortages, supply chain issues, they're still there, and they're about as severe now as they were even a year ago, 6 months or so ago. So does seem like prices are softening a little bit. I'm not seeing much let up or change in the supply chain side or available labor. So as far as that goes, not a lot of change. It is softening up, like I mentioned, but I guess what I've learned there, the takeaway from there is that the pricing is really unknown, and in some respects it doesn't defy the logic. So you just got to stay on top of it and communicate well with the customers, let them know what's going on. I mean, they know what's happening, but just be transparent and open with our clients, and let them know we're part of the team, and help them weather this schedule and pricing unknown thing.
Yeah. Lumber's come down a little, not much, but it's come down a little bit. And it really depended on what state you were in too, because you're down in Texas, it was kind of an open state. I was here in Georgia. Construction really didn't get affected that much. But if you were in a shutdown state, you might not have gotten a project done. So it really depended on where you were demographically, and and whether you were, a lot of the projects, some of your projects were, essential or not. So there were so many other different factors. United States, it's amazing. California is completely different than Georgia. Georgia is completely different than New York, and Ohio is completely different than Florida. I had a contractor on from Australia, and she lived in the States, and she lived in all those different states. She goes, you guys are a bunch of different countries. You just go across the border, and it's like completely different. And it's an amazing thing when you think about construction, because all it really is working with your hands. And but it's just some of the regulations that they put in, and the pricing increases. And, the toughest thing was like, even myself, when everything was shut down, if you didn't have a cell phone number or a Gmail account, it was very tough to get in touch with customers because number one, they were getting pounded by emails. They didn't want to say, hey, those 5 projects, I'm putting those off. Or we had 30-day terms, now it's 180. Or, they didn't want to have to tell you that stuff because some of them were probably your friends. You've been building them since 1998. So these were all the things that were going on. And I heard it from everybody, plus the liability of people not feeling well, maybe getting ill on the site and who was liable and who wasn't. All these different things that, on the legalese side of things that you have to put in the contracts just to even protect yourself, and half the time you can't even understand it. I had a lawyer, she's out of Texas too. She does the Subcontracting Institute. And when I had her on the podcast, I said, hey, could you have me on your show? Because I'd love to tell all the lawyers out there, I wish you would just talk straight English with me. No BS. Just say it like it is instead of having a 20-page or a 50-page document contract. Why don't you just make it simple and make it a 2-page contract and just say it like it is, and make it easy. I don't like word salad. I just like to know, hey, it's going to cost this. You do this. This is what's going to happen, and
that would be nice.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Real nice.
Yeah. And she's like, Dave, we'd love to have you on that set. I go, look, I don't care if I make enemies. I mean, I just, when I was doing my events before the shutdown, I was down in Florida looking at stuff, and I was up in Milwaukee looking at hotels, and then they were trying to get me to sign the contract, and I was like, look, I talked to my legal counsel. He said I got to put this, and this in here now to protect myself. And if you can't put that in there, it's supposed to be a win-win. I'm going to bring people to your hotel. I'm going to buy your food, but if people can't travel, I need a way out because you're not going to buy that food, 6 or 7 months in advance. You're going to buy it like 6 days in advance. Just like if you do a project with flooring. Flooring is one of the last thing that goes in, but you have to get it spec'd and purchased way in front of at the planning stage, even though it's going to go in right at the end. So if you're one of those product manufacturers, you're probably teetering like this because you don't even know what's going to happen. Plus, by the time it gets there, they might even have to go back to, hey, Barry, that laminate you're going to put in there? Said it was going to be $5 square foot. It's now 15. Sorry, that's coming out of your pocket, right? Am I right? Or you have to do hey, can you meet me in the middle, or whatever it is. And so it's been a crazy 24. And the biggest thing though, trying to find PMs and superintendents, is that like looking for a needle in a haystack?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Well, how do you go about it? I mean, because some of the contractors I talked to, like, God, I'd love to take on some more business, but I can't find the PMs or the supers to handle the projects, and I don't want to, do a lousy job or not be able to fulfill my commitment to my client. So some people are pushing it away because they're busy as it is, but they don't want to take on. They would like to take on more business. Who wouldn't? It's we're a capital society, but can't find PM or superintendents. It's crazy. I know they're out there, but you can't find them. They're like hiding under the rock. It's amazing.
Well, we're doing a lot of interviewing. Well, one thing, let me back up a little bit. One of the things we did is we maintained most of our staff last few years, even when things got slow. So we were prepared when we started getting busy, which is really just recently, last few months. But we're interviewing a lot, and a lot of the PM superintendents we're talking to, not really interested in making a change, but they're open to it if there's an opportunity that interests them. So they're not really looking in most cases, but they're open. And so we're interviewing a lot of folks, and we've been able to hire a few, those that we thought would fit, but it's just got to keep the door open, keep talking to folks. And
are they looking for more money, or is it a moving thing, or do they want to stay remote? I mean, or is it all of the above?
It's all of the above. A number of them want to stay remote. A number of them want to move to Austin. All of them are expecting top dollar for sure. And the ones that are very good, and maybe they're not the minority, but there's a cream of the crop level, if you will. They want prime money. If you want them, you got to pay it.
Oh yeah. When I was going to do an event down in Austin for my women's retreat, we always do it in August, and I had a scheduled hotel in March of 2020. So at first I was going to do my men's event up in Wisconsin because we were going to do the Harley Davidson tour. And Milwaukee's actually a very cool city. For those of you who haven't been there, it's a very cool city, especially during the summer. In the winter, it's like any place else. It's cold, but in the summer, it's really nice. On the downtown, it's nice, and Harley there. Anyway, during that time period, Austin has the big festival that goes on. I forget what it was called. You know what it is.
Yeah, there's two of them.
Yeah, well, anyway, huge. 250,000 people come there. I mean, we're talking millions and millions of dollars of tax revenue. So I had this appointment scheduled to go down and look at like 9 or 10 hotels because it's been a while since I've been to Austin. And she called me up and she said, "Hey, are you still coming down and look at hotels?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not worried about getting on the plane or anything. Yeah, I've got my plane ticket ready to go." She goes, "Well, I hate to tell you, 8 of the 10 hotels that you want to see are closed down. So, we're short staffed." I said, "Well, I have someone in Austin that actually can, if that's the case, she can go and look at the hotels for me or whatever." And then she told me about, the show because the event, the festival, because I guess they didn't have insurance, the right kind of insurance to cover this, this gig that happened. And, they canceled it. And it was a huge blow to the economy down there. And just like everybody else had a trade show canceled. And I was in the, and listen, I had my event in January of 2020, so I lucked out. It's my 10th anniversary summit. I had mine before all this that. So, but I'm in the look, I'm a friendly competitor. I didn't want to see any of that stuff happen, whether they were in my sector or not. So when I heard that, I was like, wow, this is serious stuff because they're canceling a huge event worldwide. People flock to Austin to go to that. And because she said, when you book your ticket, don't come during these 2 weeks because you won't find a hotel room. You'll be driving from Arkansas to get down there. There'll be everything's booked. And then it got canceled. And I said, look, here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna try to push my event back. We'll see how things go. And then if not, and we were going to do the racetrack. There was a racetrack gig that was in, I forget what the thing was called, but we were going to do that. And there was some other one. Anyway, I had a great itinerary planned. And then there it went. And so in the meantime, then she followed up with me. She goes, "Hey, are you going to do your events?" I'm like, "Well, I'm virtual right now. So I'm still kind of weighing options and what I'm going to do, and I'd like to do them in person again because I miss seeing my buds. I'd like going to those events, and but right now I'm kind of in limbo. I'm still hanging. So what were you going to say? You were going to
Circuit of the Americas, is that racetrack you're talking about?
Yeah.
COTA for short.
Yeah.
Big venue.
Well, listen, when I went to a show, I always go to the Visitors Bureau first. And I say, "Hey, what do you got to do for activities there? I don't care what it is, because we want to have fun." And, talk about the hotels and can you help me get coordinated? And they would be my liaison. They would reach out to the hotels, give me the RFPs back. They'd set my appointments up. And then I come down and look, see if everything looks cool. And kind of like doing a site visit. Just like you, when you do a construction project, you're looking, "Hey man, we got to do this. So same kind of thing. And but I was disappointed. So I tried to push it back to later in the fall, and then finally I just made the decision. Look, I'm going to go virtual because everybody else was trying to push their shows back, and then they all started canceling because no one was allowed to travel, and it was it was just crazy. It really was. But then things opened up, and now people are getting back out, and so a lot of people are like, "Hey, why don't you do your in-person events and stuff?" And I said, "Well, it's a cost thing, inflation. Just like you have to worry about lumber, I have to worry about airfare, hotels. They're double. It's crazy. And do I want to raise the price on you to come to my event? No. So, I'm doing a hybrid event. I'm going to do my gig in January in Atlanta here for the locals, and the rest of the people will be virtual. That's just the way it's going to be. And then maybe next year, if things come down, I'll go back to the way it was. But as a business owner, I have to look at things, because I don't want to, just like that lumber guy, it says, "Hey," or the floor guy that as an example, "Hey, I know I said it was $5 square foot, but it's really now 15. Who's going to eat that? So I don't want to burden my sponsors who put it on. as well as, some of my attendees, they have to go through the same thing. So it's crazy. Every day I look at, stuff, and it's just like construction. I'm building a show. You guys are building buildings. I have all the materials and hotels, food, plane. You do the same thing, just with different materials. So we're both in the same business, believe it or not. Even with the magazine, I'm building. It's a jigsaw puzzle. I put it together, and once it's done, we post it. Just like when you turn over the keys to your owner. So, what cool things did you learn about your company during that time period that you didn't know?
Everyone was very resilient. I think you generally expect it, but until you get in that situation, you don't really know. But everyone was very resilient, very, very helpful. We're a team here, and everyone helped out where they needed to. If someone was struggling, or we just all clung together and helped each other out to help get through this stuff.
Did people stay in the office, or did they work remote?
First month or so, fairly remote, because that was kind of a thing then. But then, about 3 months later, we all started coming back to the office and working together again. So yes, roughly 2-3 months, mostly remote, then back to the office.
So as you look for, we're going into Q3, Q4 will be here soon, and 2023, coming down the pike. Obviously, there's a lot of unknowns, that are out there, but what's your outlook? Are you bullish? Are you bearish? Where are you? As a contractor, as a business person.
Well, we have a number of projects that are on the cusp of starting. They've been delayed for a number of months. So I guess I'm feeling good about it. And in some respects, it doesn't seem to make sense in some ways because of the pricing and inflationary stuff that we're starting to see now. But we've got 6 projects that are about to start, but they've been delayed for either budgeting and pricing reasons, going through value engineering, making sure the budget all works. Got a lot of city and permitting issues that are just about resolved. So we have a lot that's about to start. And so got contracts on most of it. There's no reason for me to think that they're not going to start. So for us, I'm happy. It's a good backlog of work. It's obviously got to start, but it's right there, right around the corner.
Yeah.
So I'm feeling pretty good.
Yeah.
The best I've felt in about 2.5 years, honestly.
What was one of your cool? Yeah. What type of project would you say your coolest project that you did over the last 24 months or so that you did that you're very proud of?
Coolest? Well, they haven't been very cool. Surgical facility up in Nebraska is probably the coolest, I suppose. Only that we started in that time the cycle had a real cold winter up there in Nebraska, just outside Omaha. Finished it on schedule. Very few problems. Customer boomed in on time, and they're open for business and doing well. So basically getting a project built, getting it dried in during that fairly short non-cold period of time was a challenge.
Yeah, nothing like building construction
well.
and breaking ground, and when the frozen tundra is solid as a thick of concrete, So
we started when we started clearing. We built the pad the previous winter, and then after things started to warm up, we cleared the snow off the pad and scraped out the first top 6 inches or so, and then got started.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Very cool. So if you had to leave one positive thought or phrase with our listeners out there in commercial construction coffee talk land, what would it be, as we move forward?
Ooh, I've got a bunch of them, but I think that fits for today. I'm going to say if nothing changes, nothing changes. And we've been all dealing with a bunch of change here. So it's just can't do things the same way. Just can't do the same things the same way.
Yeah.
Got to look at the alternatives and look at the different ways of doing things to be successful.
They always say, if it's not broken, don't fix it. But if you don't look for new ways to do things, it's the way it is. It's like when the Aggies beat Alabama last year. Was it last year that they beat them? Is that what it was? Every year they play, Alabama's beat, and then finally they did something changed, because they went in probably at halftime and said, hey, we got to do this. And look, they pulled it off. So, and same thing with Georgia. The Bama had their thing. And look, they lost in the SEC, but they came back, a month later and beat them in the championships,
Yeah.
but they,
That was nice to see, by the way.
yeah. Oh, believe me, I'm not, listen, I'm a Yankee living in the South. I pull for Tech in Georgia. I pull for all the Georgia teams. I got my Atlanta Blaze shirt, actually, they're no longer, the lacrosse team's gone here locally. Our indoor team's still here, but, it was really good for the state, and just Athens is right down the road for me, so it was really good to see them pull it out. And listen, it's always nice to have someone else up there that
It is.
I have nothing against the Tide. They're a good school, and they turn out good people, and so but listen, this is SEC country. You know how it is, man.
Oh yeah.
NFL's second fiddle. SEC's king down here. So, but that really was great. It was a pretty good year. The Braves won, Georgia won, and our lacrosse team. They choked to get into the playoffs. They probably had a chance, but not anymore. But that's over. But anyway, we've had a pretty good year in Atlanta. Atlanta sports. Listen, they don't. They always. The Tom Brady Super Bowl, gig in the fourth quarter. We have that aura around us. So that winning the Georgia thing and the Braves, that all is like, woo, we don't have to have another one of those. So anyway, hey. If someone wanted to talk to you or reach out to Wurzel about projects or, bouncing some questions off to you, how would they reach out to you?
My email address works great. They can also text me. Text works better for me, but either way, I welcome it. Would appreciate the.
And that's all up on your website, right?
Yes, sir.
What's your website?
It's the Wurzel, www.wurzelbuilders.com.
Okay, there you go. All you guys out there on commercial construction coffee talk land, WurzelBuilders.com. If you're looking for a contractor, weather the storm, 12th man, Aggie, can get it done. Contact Barry. And, listen, I always bounce stuff off people. So if I ever have a question, I always reach out, whether it's a competitor or a friend or whatever. Hey, this is what it's all about. We're all in this together. So there's plenty of business for everybody. You're not going to be able to do all the projects. So having camaraderie, you might learn something from one or the other. That's what I do in the magazine. I tell people stuff, what other people are doing. Then like, hey, you know what? Last thing I want to do is, see people falter or just kind of flaggle around. Hey, listen, you learn something. The day I stop learning is the day I should do something else. So as far as I'm concerned, bounce stuff off people, because you never know what might, click in you. You might not do it exactly the same way, but I see stuff in other magazines. I'm like, hey, that looks really cool, but I'd rather do it a little this way. But that's a really good idea. I wish I would have thought of that. But hey, that's cool. Someone just sent me a newsletter the other day, and they had this little quiz. And I used to do the quizzes. I was like, I haven't done that in a long time. I should bring that back out. And this was just in the general contractor's newsletter that I get. So I sent him a little note, and I said, hey, Matt, really liked your newsletter. Really, hey, I love that. You reminded me. I used to do the little quiz. I used to do a crossword puzzle too. I'm like, I think I'm going to bring that back. Thanks. He came back and goes, oh, awesome, man. At least I know someone's reading my stuff. I'm like, I always read your stuff. I read everything, So anyway.
Well, I'd appreciate anybody reaching out. I like to collaborate, especially share war stories, if you will, particularly with other builders. I've made lots of mistakes, and it's good to share that wisdom. Maybe me as well as others out there can help others from not making the same mistakes.
Hey, you learn from your mistakes. There's nothing wrong with failure. You're not going to learn if you don't fail, period. And, it's the nature of the beast. I don't care if it's business, personal, sports. You're not going to win them all, but you learn from it, so it doesn't happen again, or at least it doesn't happen as bad. And like I said, I take everything. Listen, you go through your day, you do the best you can, recharge your battery, wake up the next day, and do it again. And hopefully, you don't have to deal with frozen tundra and and breaking ground and all that other stuff. So.
Not down here right now, as you know.
Yeah. I know. So, well, everybody out there, listen, it's August, dog days of summer. And, before you know it, Labor Day is coming in. And like I said, Thanksgiving is going to be around the corner before you know it. And then boom, we're at the holidays and we're closed this year out. So, this year's just flown by. I've never seen it fly by as quick as it has. So everybody out there in commercial construction coffee talk land, listen, if you're out there working, if you're in the heat, drink lots of water, stay hydrated. Work your tails off, get those projects done. I know the retailers, they want to get their projects done because Thanksgiving through Christmas is where they make the money. You got to get those stores open by Thanksgiving because, that's a big shopping day. And, my parents were jewelers. They made a lot of their money between Thanksgiving and Christmas. So we know you got to get those stores done. So I know it's going to be a busy fall for a lot of people. And, looking forward to, momentum, growing because like I said, everybody I talk to is busy. It's just really a labor thing. And finding the people to, take on more projects. And, I think that eventually something's got to give. And whether it's gas prices going down or whatever it might be, but something's coming down the pike. And I think it's going to be good for everybody. So I'm staying positive and I'm looking at the glass, half full, not half empty. So if anybody wants to reach me, you can get me at davidc@ccr-mag.com. Just had another 2.23 million, I forget what it was, hit our website. Again, consuming content. So if you have anything cool out there, I don't care if it's a charity golf tournament, you had a new hire, you have a new product, you have a case study you did, you have a relative that's, on a Navy ship, whatever, I'll post it for you. Send that to me. I look at everything. I'll find a place for it. Very tough to get in the magazine, but I got social media out the yazoo. On the website, we post all sorts of stuff. Every day I'm posting stuff. So if you have something, send it to me. I'll send you the live link. It's a win-win. Okay. Just like, you want to bounce something off Barry, send it to me. And I always say, I know you hate hearing this. You can't win the lottery, which was $1.2 billion last week. Someone from Illinois won it. That person's very, very psyched. But if you didn't buy that ticket, he wouldn't have won. So if you don't send me something, I can't find a place for it, in the digital link that I'm doing right now. So, send it to me. I'll find a place for it. So with that said, I'm going to put my hat on. Compliments of the ranch down in San Antone. And Barry, pleasure meeting you. I want to meet you in person and no fist bumps. So I'm going to shake your hand and, go Aggies and all you out there in commercial construction coffee talk land. Listen, have a great rest of the summer. Enjoy Labor Day coming up. It's only a couple of weeks away, about 3 weeks or so. And we will see you next time on another episode of Commercial Construction Coffee Talk. Barry.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
I'll see you at the ranch when I get in, putting up some fence, okay?
Sounds good. Please look me up if you're in town. Be great to
All
meet
right,
you in
man.
person.
Sounds good. And thanks you. Pleasure meeting you. And we will see you all next time. Have a great rest of the week. Thank you.